This is the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. We're taking it back to the roots, getting dirty and covering all things off-road, because pavement, well, that's for it's gloves off, in your face, on the edge, and the way off-road should be. We're your definitive source for all things dirt.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the very first episode of the all-new Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. Big thank you to my partners at Four Wheel Parts for helping me make this whole thing a reality. A lot of you are wondering, man, this is in the Down and Dirty Radio Show feed. What's going on? Aren't you an off-road show? What Gives Jimmy, episode 1? You're almost 400 in. What's the deal? Well, the deal is, I know you guys have been talking. I listened. You guys wanted an off-road only edition like I used to do at the start. And, we've grown at the Down and Dirty Radio Show. We're covering all kinds of stuff. Rad action, motorsports, rally, drifting, NHRA, IndyCar, as well as off-road and UTV racing, but a lot of you wanted something that was die-hard, hardcore off-road, so we're bringing you off-road content once a week in podcast form. We're going to have the biggest and best guest interviews in off-road, and it's not just desert racing and short course and UTVs. We're going to be talking rocks, Ultra 4, overlanding, recreational off-road. If it is off-road, we're going to cover it here on the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. So I appreciate you guys that have rode this roller coaster with me for the past, 8 years now, and stoked to have you on board here for this new show that we're going to be launching as of today, and I think it's going to be one heck of a fun ride. I know my guest this week, a number one guest, one of the guys that I knew we had to have early on. Just so happens that he is a big supporter of the show, has been with the national show for a long time, and he's now one of the guys at Four Wheel Parts, Joey D. You guys know him as the founder of UTV Underground. Now he is working with Four Wheel Parts, doing all kinds of amazing creative content. If there's one guy in this industry that eats, sleeps, breathes all forms of off-road, it is Joey D., and I'm stoked to have him as guest number one right here on the Four Wheel Parts Off-Road Edition of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. So if you guys are wanting to know how to get this, obviously you found it, but we're going to be airing on the website and in podcast form on iTunes, also available on Podcast One and our whole entire podcast distribution network. We won't be in national syndication with this thing, but that's all right. I think this lends itself to on-demand, and we can do some long-form interviews like we used to, and, it's no hold barred, pull no punches. We're going to be able to get down and dirty with some of the top guys and top personalities in off-road. Really looking forward to this. Thank you guys for the continued support of the show, and one thing I will promise you with this, like my other show, it's going to be all killer, no filler, which means that we're going to get right to the meat of things. We're going to jump right into interviews. We're going to jump right into talk about all things off-road. This is kind of a preview show. We're going to talk about kind of the future of it with Joey D and where things are moving forward. But I thank you guys once again for tuning into this episode number one. And after the short commercial break, we're going to roll right into things with Joey D from Four Wheel Parts. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with a Down and Dirty radio show since 2012. Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500, or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at motoshieldpro.com.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound of the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Oh, man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out MyMedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code JimBeaver. Again, MyMedic.com, discount code JimBeaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a funeral.
All right, I'd like to welcome, I guess, my very first guest. He's going to be a big part of this show. But Joey D, welcome to the first episode of the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Radio Show Off-Road Edition. Thanks for everything, my friend. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Very exciting time. I remember getting on the Down and Dirty show years ago when you first introduced it. So it's good to get back on the show, this new show with you here, and kick this off, this new era of the Down and Dirty show. So very cool.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to look back, but you were probably in one of the first, like, maybe 4 or 5 episodes I think we ever did, and that was I don't know if I actually want to go back and listen to that because I was probably horrible on air, but that was still like UTV Underground was still kind of, the ball was getting rolling with UTV Underground. You guys hadn't really hit your stride quite yet. I had you on the show, and like, I mean, at one point early on, I know you got so busy, but we did like some live remotes at the Mint 400. You co-hosted with me. I mean, we used to do a ton of stuff, and then things kind of just steamroll for both of us, and and then we didn't get to do quite as much as we wanted to, but man, it's like you said, it's kind of full circle now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I look back the past 10 years and all the different things that that we've experienced through the industry in general and in our own careers, and for me it's been a blur. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years since starting UTV Underground and now making my my way over to Trans-American Auto Parts and 4-Wheel Parts, and being here, I'm definitely blessed, and it's been a really fun run.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like if you were to, go back, Joey D, 10 years ago and, look at the next decade, you would have no idea you'd be where you're at, and I think that's what's crazy about life. Like we can have these plans, which you really never know. I mean, you would have never thought you'd be in this position a decade ago, right?
Oh man, I reflected on this a few weeks ago as I was in Minneapolis for the Polaris Leadership Conference. So it's director level and up. So it's like the top 250 employees of the Polaris Corporation in for a leadership conference. And so I found myself sitting in this room, as one of those 250 people inside of this 13,000 person massive corporation. And that allowed me to reflect back and look back, 10 years ago, there I was starting a forum and just had a real passion for the side-by-side movement and what was happening there and just off-road in general. And I was just begging to be able to do some work with Polaris. If you told me 10 years later I'd actually be working for the corporation in a pretty important capacity, I wouldn't have believed you for sure. So it's pretty cool to look back and see how far starting a little forum and just having a passion for something, how far that could really take myself or take anybody in general when you just love what you do and you commit to a goal and you just put everything you got into it. It's truly, I think, if I ever decided to write a book, it could be one page and it could just say it's the American dream right here, and and the beautiful thing is everything's documented on Facebook, so all social media's got my entire career there. So I get those Facebook memories pop up.
Yeah.
And I love that feature. It's my favorite feature of social media because it really allows me to look back and see what I was doing all those years ago and how far and how much things have changed.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Because that's one of my favorite features too. And not just from the business side of things, because it gives me those pop-ups, but then like just the family side of things and stuff. I'll be like, man, my daughter, that was 5 years ago. Wow. She was small, but then it'll like pull up a post and I'll be like, man, what was I thinking when I posted that? You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those, like you said, it's like, it really is kind of cool because Facebook and social media really has like our entire careers and lives documented now, it's like its own book.
Yeah, I can remember growing up. I think we all probably have similar stories of, the grandparents or our parents being able to pull out these photo albums, and maybe once a year or maybe once every few years, you'd sit down and pull out a photo album and look through all these childhood photos and all this stuff. But nowadays, it's like you have a daily photo album that you're able to collect and share your story, not just with your friends and the people that follow you and everything else, but for your own, documentation. So I agree. I love it from the family aspect and obviously from a career side and then a work side. It's always great to be able to look back and reflect and see, all the things that you've done, so our kids will never understand the challenges we had with, having to have burner cameras, little disposable cameras or, a Polaroid or something with you at all times to capture the moment. Now we're capturing everything down to what we eat on a daily basis. So it is cool to look back and see all the memories. And I forget all the cool stuff I've done. Yesterday, my Facebook memories came up and it reminded me of a trip that we did for Camp RZR, the first Camp RZR in Dubai. And so this time, 5-6 years ago or whatever it was, I was actually sitting on the back of a camel in Dubai, eating goat with RJ and a bunch of friends that traveled out there for Camp RZR in Dubai. So pretty cool. I love that feature for sure. And I love all the memories I've been able to build over the years. Has been really special. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah. And it's funny you talk about those memories. And I mean, you and I, like, our career arcs are, yours is yours is definitely, more advanced than mine. But it's funny because, like, you and I, our beginnings were very much the same. Like, and I know you go back to like the start of UTV Underground. I mean, you were burning the midnight oil, you know what I mean? You had a real job and you were sitting there and pumping out articles a night. I mean, I remember you were at every race. You would shake hands with every driver down the start line of the UTV races and things like that. And I mean, you put in the legwork to get where you're at. And, and you talk about all these fun trips. And I think a lot of people along the way go, oh man, Joey, he's so lucky. Look at all these amazing places he's going. I get people tell me that all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't realize like the hours and the loss of sleep and the loss of family time and the stuff we endured to get where we're at now,
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to see a selfie of you sitting at 2 a.m. in your underwear with a laptop on your lap, banging out a story. That's not the cool stuff. So the stuff we do share tends to be the glorious side of things and the things that are exciting that we know, help inspire other people or share the cool things that we're achieving and doing in life. But yeah, I mean, that's the grind, and I tell you, it's like, over the years, as years went on and I was able to find some success and, do the things I was doing with my friends and family and company. I hear people all the time say, oh man, you got it made. And, I'm trying to start my own company and it's such a grind and, I don't know how you did it. And, this and this. And, I give this advice, often, when I get that type of question brought to me or people are asking, for me to share some of my own experiences because they're in that same time with their own career or building their own brand or company. And I tell them to just embrace it because when I look back on my career, those early years where I had gone full time with UTV Underground and I barely had a pot to pee in, I mean, I had a young family and we were just making ends meet. But I was grinding so hard. I was so full of this, what I guess people would call that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
That you just were so committed to winning. You were so committed to getting it done and building something. And you loved it so much that nothing else mattered. And so I tell people all the time that even though I wasn't making money then, I still look back as those were the best years of my career because the feeling you get when you're building something and you're energized with this, I don't even know what to call it. You just got this fire burning to go out and accomplish a goal. That's something that you can't buy. Money can't replace that feeling and that drive. And what's really exciting for me is, as your career grows and you find success, the challenges change. And yeah, money hopefully starts coming in and you're doing more things, but the responsibilities and the stress only grows with that. And that's all good. I mean, no one can complain about success, but it's not all glorious, right? But I yearn for that drive, that excitement of, the unknown and taking chances and going out there and just building something. And I can tell you, I found a little bit of that again these past 6 months with my new career move here, coming to Trans-American and 4 Wheel Parts to be a big part of the marketing program for the company. And man, it's fun. It's like, it's a lot of work, but it's not hard work per se, if that makes sense. It's just but it's exciting. It's fun work to me. I love these challenges, and I feel like we're rebuilding a brand. Now I've gone from being an entrepreneur to an intrapreneur.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It was Craig Scanlon, our president and CEO, and a great friend of mine, when talking about coming to work here, of course, making a big career change, you're fearful of all the what ifs and, is it the right move and this and this. But he had said something to me that really kind of stuck and helped me, make the decision. He made a comment about, remember all those years of building UTV Underground and building Razor and doing those things? Well, guess what? We get to do that again. And better than that, we get to do it all together again. It's like getting the band back together that Razor had, ORV had, and UTV Underground, and the way we work together. And man, I can't tell you how much it feels exactly like that. And just like he told me, I mean, we're in that same boat right now where the sky's the limit. We've got this great company and this great brand, but we're really bringing it back in a new way. And it's super exciting. And really, I'm honored to be able to be part of this team and be part of this, this new era of four-wheel parts and Trans-American Auto Parts. So it's really exciting. I think people are starting to see some of the changes that Craig and myself and the rest of the team are bringing to the table. And it's just getting started. So it's a great time, and I'm really enjoying the process. And it takes me back to those years of just having that fire where I'm okay with working 16-hour days. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. I have to reel myself in, or my wife has to reel me in to say, hey, are you coming home tonight, or what's the deal? It's 9:30 and you're not here. And I don't realize it, because I'm just like so fired up over it. So I love this feeling that I'm in. I love the experience that we're going through right now. And there's a lot of challenges, but it's fun and it's exciting.
Well, and I know, and that was kind of, this was big news because UTV Underground, that was your baby. You hand built that thing from scratch to where it was, and when, I know you put out that, that kind of that last piece on UTV Underground, and told people, hey, I'm going to Four Wheel Parts and things like that. And I think a lot of people were sad to, really sad to see you go. But part of me was like, I was sad to see you go, but part of me was excited because I'm like, for Joey to leave his baby and go to Four Wheel Parts, I'm like, that wasn't a decision that came easily for you. So for me, as as a fan of off-road and as a good friend of yours, you know what I mean? Like that got me pumped because I'm like, Joey sees something really big in Four Wheel Parts. If he's going to leave his baby and go over here to Four Wheel Parts, I'm like, I'm excited to see what happens at Four Wheel Parts because, I knew that wasn't an easy decision for you. You had plans, man.
Yeah, it was not an easy decision, and you're right. I mean, I UTV Underground is forever a part of who I am. As I sit in my office talking to you right now, I'm still surrounded by so many memories, and the logo is everywhere, and it's a part of who I am. I'll forever be identified with the brand. It was a really hard decision to make, to walk away from your own company. And to go and take a job essentially, really take another big chance where, I'm at a point where I'm approaching my 40s and, I've got 3 kids and a family to look after. And, there's all these things that you start weighing out, but, we're only on this planet for a short amount of time. And I passed up a lot of really big opportunities during my years with UTV Underground for different reasons, that, there's a few of them I look back and I regret not saying yes to, or not taking a chance and going and doing, whether it be some opportunities with television or whatever it was. And I saw this opportunity and I saw the team that was behind it. Obviously I've worked with Polaris for many years. They are committed to success and winning. And this was just one of those things, after talking it over for months with my wife, that, I just knew I needed to go and do. And the support that I got from the industry as a whole, not just my immediate friends and family, but from the industry, was just amazing, right? And I'm like, man, I'm just a single dude in a really big sport and industry. But everyone really made me feel more than that. And, later after that decision, a couple of months after that, the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame gave me an Industry Impact Award, which was just, to this day is probably one of the top career highlights. I didn't get inducted into the Hall of Fame, nor do I think I ever would deserve that. But to just be honored by that group and by the peers who chose me and voted for that, man, I just look back and realize like how lucky I am to be affiliated with this industry and to be able to have done something that other people in the sport felt like it was a positive thing. My career has been very rewarding because of that. So to be here now at Four Wheel Parts and to have made that jump, it's because of that support, it made the decision so much easier. And then what's cool is, as I've come over here, I've seen all those same people that would represent me with, or represent UTV Underground, be able to add supporting Four Wheel Parts to that simply because they believe in me and respected what I was able to do, maybe for them, either personally or for the industry during my years helping grow the UTV segment. So that's been awesome. So coming into Four Wheel Parts, it was, really that support from the industry really kind of validated me, I think, to a lot of people who didn't know who I was. They were like, wow, we don't know who this Joey D guy is walking into our building, but a lot of other people do. So with that comes a lot of pressure as well. Being the shiny penny isn't always an easy role. And, but we're working really hard to deliver, and, hopefully I can live up to the expectations I place on myself, as well as what, our company and our industry expects from me as well. So I'm definitely a lucky guy, Jim.
Yeah, well, and I know you and I have talked, kind of off the record, because we talk occasionally, and you were saying one of the coolest things about Four Wheel Parts and moving into this role is you're doing a lot of similar things that you did for UTV Underground. You're creative and your content, and there's a lot more to your job now, but that's still a part of it. And I know one thing you said that was amazing was that the support that you have, and now that you've had all these ideas for so many years, but now you have the resources to go and accomplish them. And I'm just looking down the roster of athletes that, Four Wheel Parts now has. You've got, the Deegans, you brought in Mitchie, Sarah Price, Blake Wilkie, obviously Craig Scanlon, the Eisenhowers. Now I'm a part of the family, and there's a list of athletes there, but I know the plans you have, and just the stuff you brainstormed to me and told me, hey, we're going to be trying to do this and that. I'm like, man, this is Joey D 2.0, man. You got to be pumped.
Yeah, well, and don't forget other big guys like Jason Shearer.
Yeah.
And of course, our guy who's like a brother to me, RJ Anderson. So what you're seeing so far with the building of what we call the 4WP official team is a lot of people that have been with Craig and I and supported us, and that we've supported over the years. We're keeping that core group together as we progress in our own careers. We're keeping them and bringing our family along for the run, and this is just the start. And on top of that, you nailed it, where I had a lot of ideas or things that I always wanted to do with UTV Underground in the off-road world in general, but because we were a side-by-side and UTV-centric, brand, I wasn't able to tap into all the different genres that I would have loved to get into. Of course, we were able to take a lot of trophy truck guys and people from other forms of motorsport and bring them into the UTV fold. Guys, off the top of my head, are like Tanner Faust or BJ Baldwin or Bryce Menzies. These are guys that we were able to guide into the UTV segment and help bolster the UTV segment. So I got to work with, a lot of crossover athletes in motorsports. But now being here at Four Wheel Parts and Transamerican, I'm able to really go out and do all of that stuff. I'm able to grow the skills that I honed in the side-by-side segment and building that segment, and now adapt that to all of the genres of off-road, from the daily driver aspect all the way to, the rock bouncers in the Southeast, right? So we get to go and do it all. And I think the biggest thing I'm most excited about is all these years, all these ideas and things that we were out doing had to be funded by somebody.
Yeah.
I didn't have the resources to go do a $500,000 video project on our own. We had to go and get a brand to believe in the idea and support it with funds. Well, now the cool thing is if I have an idea and I can shape it out on paper and show what this idea would turn into, I can go do it myself. I don't need to go sell somebody else to go and fulfill the idea. I can just go do it. And that is really empowering and even more exciting. And I think that's why, so far you've been able to see such a quick transition with Craig being on staff, because that's the really, I go and I get a lot of credit because I'm kind of like the face guy. I'm out there.
Yeah.
But don't get it twisted. The things that I'm able to do are because it's blessed from the top down. You know, it starts with Craig and his vision and belief in what we do, all the way down to now what I'm really excited about. I'm probably maybe one of the only guys on the planet that was so excited to have a new boss. But bringing Jason DeFucia into the fold as our senior director of marketing. Jason was the first guy I worked with at Razor, you know, and from a marketing aspect, and now he's part of our team. I mean, I said it earlier, but Craig had said, you know, I'm building an all-star team over here. I want you to be part of it. And now that comment has kind of shifted as we're getting the band back together. Yeah. You know, we've got a lot of the same hitters and same people involved in what we're doing with 4-Wheel Parts that we're a part of taking Polaris ORV to where it is. And then adding in a lot of other guys from other key areas around the industry, as well as the foundation that was already at TAP. I mean, it's easy to talk about the people that have come in because I'm still considered a new guy, but I mean, TAP has, and 4-Wheel Parts has some amazing people involved in the company, and to be able to come work with these professionals and learn from them and be able to help support them, it's killer. I mean, this is really, I feel like we're building like a dynasty over here or something, which is probably a little, you know, maybe a little big of a comment to make, but we're just a retail company, right? But we're not just a retail company in my mind. This is like a team and a family, and man, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, well, you know, and I think 4-Wheel Parts too, like you said, you're part of the forward-facing part of 4-Wheel Parts, you know, and people see the stores, you know, that they can walk into, and they obviously everybody knows about the website where you can go and, you know, and get your stuff online, but I'm just looking behind the scenes, like you said. There's TAP, and there's, I mean, our dealership here. My family's got a Ford dealership. I think most of the listeners know this by now, but I mean, they're ordering, you know, from the dealer division of TAP, you know, every single day, aftermarket parts and things like that. And now you guys have launched, you know, you're calling it The Dirt, which is like a content platform for off-roads. I mean, it's like there's so many different arms in this whole 4-Wheel Parts tentacle. Like, I think a lot of people just see that forward-facing part, the website, the retail stores. I don't think they realize how massive this company actually is, Joey.
I didn't know how massive this company is. I thought coming in to start hyping up 4-Wheel Parts. I had no idea I had an idea of the other brands. You know, people might not realize, but Trans-American is our is the sort of the parent company. Obviously, Polaris Corporation, Polaris Industries owns us. But we're part of Polaris, and so, but underneath Trans-American Auto Parts, underneath that name is obviously 4-Wheel Parts, a big brand. That's our retail arm. You know, that's what people most likely know us as, but we also own some really great product-based brands, such as ProComp, which has been around a long time. You know, Rubicon Express, G2 Gear and Axle, Smittybilt, which is huge. Poison Spider, which is an amazing lifestyle brand, and I'm really excited to be able to start branching out and getting involved with Poison Spider and some of these other brands that we have, you know, to be able to go and work with and really take to that next level. So we've got a lot of other house brands underneath the umbrella that I get to go and work with and market for and do some cool things with. But obviously 4-Wheel Parts is a great way for us all to kind of get our bearings, get moving, and being that it's our biggest brand, you know, get that thing transformed and you know, and growing in the way that you know, Craig and the team up top envisions. So it's a big company, and that's what's really cool. I think when I kind of go back to breaking down why I would have made this jump, you know, as I looked at it, and after sitting down with Craig and the executive staff on coming over here, I mean, to me, I walked away feeling like, man, I have an opportunity to get signed to like the Yankees. You know, it's it's the biggest company in off-road. So as I really was able to reflect on my career and what my future looked like and why I didn't want to miss this opportunity, it's like, man, I just started as a guy taking pictures on the side of racetracks and building my own Rhino and starting a forum, and now I get to go work and play an integral role within the biggest company in the off-road industry. Like, how do I say no to that? You know, so we're a big monster, and it's a lot of fun. I learn something new every single day. I learn about the company every single day, and I also see so many opportunities. I have more ideas in my head than I'll ever be able to execute especially in a short amount of time. That I'll forever be busy here. That's for sure.
Well, it's funny, and this is all like, it's kind of funny you're talking about full parts. You mentioned like Pro Comp and things like that. And I'm like, this is going to take you like full circle. And like when you and I got off the phone, and like Craig originally, and, you and this conversation's been going on since I think, last fall or whatever, but it was like when it was done, it's like, all right, we're going to sign you. You're going to be an ambassador, whatever. I went, like, my whole career just went full circle because I don't want to age myself, because you and I are about the same age. But we go back to when I was a teenager, and this is before like all the long travel, suspension and stuff like that was available. Literally, there was like lift kits, right? Pro Comp, Rancho, whatever, So I had this old like 1987 Ford Ranger. Thing was beat to hell. But I was 15 and I hadn't turned 16 yet. But I was like, man, I was buying magazines. This is like internet was in its infancy, so you still went and bought magazines, off-road magazines, dude. And I had it dialed in. I'm like, I have to have a Pro Comp lift for my Ranger. Like, I have to do it. And I was like, I had a pre-runner before pre-runners were cool. And so literally, I saved up washing cars at the dealership all summer long one year in between school. I finally gathered like $650. I went to my dad. I gave him the $650 cash. He gave me his credit card, and I called Four Wheel Parts, and I ordered my Pro Comp lift. And, dude, that Ranger for 3 years, I thrashed the living hell out of that thing in the desert. But, dude, it was like, you know what I mean? And, like, so Four Wheel Parts has always, like, been this part of me, just because, literally, I got my start in off-road and, like, driving in the dirt because of Four Wheel Parts. And, like, now, you know what I mean, at 38 to, like, be a part of the brand officially, dude, it's like everything's full circle, and I've got like this massive grin on my face just because like it's weird the way things work out,
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of those stories as I've been here the last 6-7 months from customers or just people that, I've been friends with that now that I'm here, we have something else in common to talk about, and they tell me stories like that. And that's what's really cool is I get to just broaden my horizons in terms of, the work I get to do just touches that many more people, or the brands are just affiliated with that many more people. And it allows me to be exposed to new things and bigger things. And I love hearing stuff like that. And like I said, I've heard a lot of similar stories over the years, but it kind of takes me back as you were mentioning, putting on that Pro Comp kit and then going out and bashing on it. It allowed me to think of, when I first came on board here and we were talking about, okay, well, what's the direction? What are we going to do? And what are my thoughts in terms of what I would like to do? And obviously, I wanted to fulfill the idea of us really kind of bringing the brand back out in a new way and transforming maybe perception a little bit, or at least gaining some real good brand awareness. And at the same time, I started to look at it and I go, well, if in my shoes, I always looked at Four Wheel Parts maybe as like Walmart of off-road. It wasn't, they had all the good stuff there, but I just envisioned it as the place you go to get it because you get a good price and it's in stock. I never really thought of Four Wheel Parts as being staffed or built by experts in off-road, and so as I started to meet the people that work here and get to know them, I quickly realized that, man, I didn't realize how many badasses work here. And what I mean by that is I went to our Chula Vista facility, which is our R&D facility. That's where, all the Pro Comp and Rubicon Express, all of our brand products are developed and engineered. And I walked into this facility and it was badass. It's like 25,000 square foot race shop. It's clean. It's organized. It's got all the bitchin' tooling everywhere. It's really a fabricator's dream, right? And then I got to meet a lot of the people and realize, holy crap, Nick Eisenhower works for us. And, not everybody maybe knows the Eisenhower brothers, but I guarantee they've seen Chris, his brothers, black and gold F100, racetrack that they built. And the Eisenhowers are, huge in the, the 1450 world. They're big with the Terra Crew and that whole movement, which I relate to because that's where me and my friends kind of fell in love with desert and going off-roading. And then Ted Moncure, who runs the facility there, he races a 6100 truck. He goes way back with the TRD racing days. Good buddies with Tommy Morris, their teammates. And I quickly and there was more and more guys like that, you know, guys that have worked in or within a lot of the biggest things. You name a trophy truck builder in our industry, and we've got guys that have worked there or learned there or were lead fabricators at these shops. So right away, I was like, man, people need to know this about us, you know? And so the very first project I dove into since being here was the introduction of our new ProComp 6-inch lift kit for the Chevy Silverado 1500 platform, the 2019 kit. So it was one of the first kits to market for this new truck. And the way I wanted to tell the story was I wanted to tell the story of the kit. Yeah, it's a lift kit, right? Most guys aren't putting a lift kit on to go out and think of it as their pre-runner, right? Yeah. It's, you know, a lot of these guys are doing it because they just want their truck to look right, look cool, and look stout and tough, and be able to go off-road if they need to. But I wanted people to understand that bolt-on lift kit was designed by the guys who are building go-fast trucks, you know, who are building trophy trucks, and that live that life on a daily basis outside. So the premise of the video was to, you know, tell the story of this new lift kit by showing Nick Eisenhower himself welding the kit up, climbing into the truck, driving it home, and when he gets home, it reveals his shop with their trophy truck sitting inside that him and his brother hand build and work on every day, day in and day out, and go and race with. So it really kind of helped bring the story full circle. And that's the direction I want people to understand about Four Wheel Parts going forward, is that, yeah, I mean, we're selling you the parts you need. You know, we can do those installs for you, or you can take them home and do it yourself. But behind these counters and then in the back of these shops, these are guys who really, truly love the sport of off-road. They live it. They own their own trucks and their own Jeeps and their own side-by-sides. And so when they're here at work, they're able to help our customers with making the right decisions for their own vehicle. But when they clock out, they're going out to do the same thing that our customers are doing. And that's really important, I think. And the big message that I want people to know and understand about us, that we truly do live the life we sell. And while we may be the biggest player in town from a retail standpoint, we still have that small town mom and pop feel when you come in and get to know the guys that work for us. So, you know, that's really exciting to be able to not only change the perception of our brand to the consumers and to the industry, but really do it for the guys that, you know, really make all this happen. And that's our employees. That's the guys on the front lines there at the counters and in the shops installing all these products for customers. You know, I want to create content and create a message that they're proud about, you know, because I know if they're stoked to tell people that they work for Four Wheel Parts or they work for ProComp or Smitty Built or whatever it is, that, you know, just the whole culture around our brand and our company it just makes it that much more fun and more exciting, and gives them some additional pride to take in being a part of this team and family that we're building here. So it's really cool to be able to tell their story a little bit and bolster the brand, not just for the sake of being able to make some sales, but really be able to go out there and change the brand to give our guys something to really be proud about.
Yeah. Well, and I know, you know, you and I talking, you know, about like this, you know, the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, like one of the things we talked about in the past, you know, people know me, it's more of a competition and, you know, you know, granted, we're going to get guys like BJ Baldwin and Bryce Menzies on the show, but I think you and I both talk, like, I think the bigger thing is like, we need to be able to tell these stories, like, you know, the Eisenhower brothers in the 1450s, you know, and the competition side, but then, you know, the guys that are just out in their Jeeps on the weekend and some of the new overlanding guys and, you know, and people that enjoy the dunes, like all facets of off-road, because that's what Four Wheel Parts represents. It's not just, you know, here or there. You guys are all things off-road, and I think that's one thing that I've really loved about the company, and I'm stoked about, you know, the partnership here on the show is we're going to help, you know, bring those personalities out and let these people tell their stories, you know, about, you know, whether they win the Baja 1000 or they just go out with their family and their Jeep to Moab, you know?
Well, I think off-road and off-road in general, racing's fun, you know, racing's exciting, and it's so cool. We all dream and have dreamed of being able to, you know, and I guess you get to live it, but own a trophy truck and go out and do that stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, I mean, we've been we've been hammered with racing. You know, I feel like even the racers I haven't met, I feel like I know them, at least the top guys, because we see so much coverage and content and videos and hear their stories on over and over, which is great. We should always continue to push that. I mean, if you're a fan of football, you might like playing it, but you also enjoy watching it, right? And so with that said, at the end of the day, though, the day in and day out, I mean, the stories that really get me are the human interest side of things, of just the regular guy. You know, I love and be ready. I've got some ideas in the hopper to tell some of these stories in a really cool and fun way of just getting out there with that regular guy who, you know, has a normal 9 to 5, but he's got a badass vehicle. You know, he's got this super trick Jeep or truck. And what's his story? You know, how did he build this thing up? And I think being able to share those human interest stories are so much more relatable to all of us. And in some cases, even more inspiring. I mean, because let's face it, in off-road racing, the guys sitting at the very top of the food chain, these are dudes that come, maybe not necessarily come from money, but they've got the funding it takes to go and build a brand new trophy truck, you know? So, you know, in most cases, they've worked very hard to get to that level. And in some cases, they were blessed to be born into a situation to provide them with those resources. But it's really cool when you can hear a story of a regular guy who's just like any one of us who works 9 to 5, but has found a way to build a piece of equipment that is so cool like that. And I think that just makes those stories so much more relatable to the masses, you know? And so I'm really excited to be able to tap into that and share some of those stories. And when you've got 94 stores like us and you're doing so many vehicles day in and day out, you can imagine how many cool stories we're exposed to that are just like that, of guys coming in and building a vehicle up because his dad's, you know, dying from terminal cancer and he wants to take him on one last cross-country off-road adventure. Those stories are out there. Those are things that I've heard from our teams around the nation, and those are the stories I'm really excited to be able to expose people to and share and use as inspiration and show that, again, I mean, we're a business. We want to grow, and we want you to think of us when you're buying your parts, but we also want you to know that we're in it for the right reasons too, because the guys that are running and driving this ship, we love this sport, you know, and we want to tell these stories and we want to support those things and be part of them. So very cool to be able to be in the position I'm in to help expose that. And I think when people start to get to know Four Wheel Parts and our brands a little bit more, I think that it's really going to be exciting to see how they respond to that, and hopefully they respond in a positive way.
Yeah, well, and, you know, and that being said, I mean, Four Wheel Parts, you guys, like you said, with that many stores and communities, I mean, you guys really are the face of off-road to a lot of areas of the country, you know? Here in the Southwest, we're lucky that we're exposed to, you know, everything, right? All these vendors and companies and things like that, but people in other areas of the country, they don't have that. You know, the only thing they have is Four Wheel Parts. You guys are the forward-facing, you know, I guess, you know, the face of off-road to a lot of these local communities.
100%. I mean, we're very lucky as off-road fans to be in the Southwest because it's a hub, especially if you're into the desert, you know. We're very lucky on that end, but we're also inundated, you know. I mean, I can drive 15 minutes from my house and be within a couple of miles of no less than 15 off-road related businesses, you know. That's a cool thing to say, but yeah, as you get in to different parts of the country, we might be the only game in town. You know, we are their go-to resource for not just buying their parts, but for learning and knowing what the new latest and greatest product is for their vehicle. And I think the stories I love the most are the guys who have the older trucks and the older Jeeps and are building them up, and they come to us, and they have been coming to us for many, many years. And we've been able to be a part of watching those vehicles transform. So yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, it's really exciting. I'm stoked to be able to get a chance to start visiting and getting out to more stores outside of the Southwest. That's going to be really cool to get to go out there and learn and understand the community there and what products are popular there and how we can better tell those stories and expose our brand to those areas and really speak their language. So we've got a long road ahead of us here and a lot of work on our plate, but it's fun work. You know, it's cool, and the sky's the limit right now.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, Joey, I know obviously we're going to have you back on the 4 Wheel Parts Off-Road Edition quite frequently. I think, pretty regularly popping in and out, keep us in the loop on everything 4 Wheel Parts. But what's coming up next for you guys? I know obviously 4 Wheel Parts, King of the Hammers was a massive one. Great success there with Mitchie and Shear. I mean, I don't know if you can you can't get any better than that. And you guys had a massive footprint there. But moving forward, I mean, what's next? I know I think there's some stuff you guys got going with Scanlon and a few other things in the pipeline. What events and things like that can we see you guys at?
Yeah, we've got a lot going on, and so hopefully everyone's going to keep following us online on social media. At 4 Wheel Parts Official on Instagram and Facebook. Keep track of us there. We're pushing a lot of content out and things to inspire you for your builds and always sharing the latest and greatest products. Obviously, something else that I hope all the listeners will go and check out and make part of their daily routine is our new content portal website called The Dirt. So that's at 4wheelparts.com/The Dirt. You definitely want to go there. I will lay it on the line right now, Jim, and say that the content we are pumping out over there on a daily basis right now is on par with any media outlet in the off-road industry. So go to The Dirt, 4wheelparts.com/The Dirt, and check out the videos and the editorial and the feature vehicles and all the stories that we're dropping over there. We definitely got enough there to keep you entertained. Event-wise, I mean, yeah, we came out of the gate swinging this year, and it's almost a gift and a curse because we came out at King of the Hammers, and we made a real strong showing there, and we've always been a big part of King of the Hammers. The team has always done a great job at that event, but being able to come out there and then capitalize on wins with Mitch Guthrie Jr., who went back-to-back, and then Jason Shear, who was able to win his third King of the Hammers title and do that as a 4 Wheel Parts official driver. That was really cool. And then we went to the Mint where Mitch Guthrie Jr. won again, as well as one of the newest members of the 4WP official team, Seth Quintero, a Red Bull athlete who's got some really big news dropping next week with us, so people can follow along. But Seth also won his class. So now, obviously, we've got drivers, including our president and CEO, Craig Scanlon, on his way to the UTV World Championship, a race that obviously is near and dear to me, is a race that I was able to help dream up and bring to life 3 years ago. So him, Mitch Guthrie, Seth Quintero, RJ and Ronnie Anderson, a few of our guys are going to be out there competing next weekend. But I think what's really exciting for me on my plate coming up event-wise is Easter Jeep Safari. So Easter Jeep Safari is the happening for the Jeep community, really kind of gets the year going, kicks off spring in a big way in Moab. And so we are going to be there with a massive presence. We're bringing all of our brand semi-trucks and representatives out there, as well as our 4 Wheel Parts showroom on wheels with over $100,000 in inventory. And we'll be set up all week, ready to take care of all the enthusiasts out there who need parts and accessories and all that good stuff for their Jeep products. So that's the big one coming up. Next week, I'm going to tip it off right now, but next week we're releasing the final episode of Chasing the Mint 800. This was a mini documentary type of piece that we created in tracking our president and CEO, Craig Scanlon, who was going to the Mint 400 to take on 2 races and 2 classes in the same day. And we captured the entire story on camera as it unfolded, starting a couple of weeks before the race. So now everybody will get a chance to see in its entirety how that whole thing came together and how it shook out at the end. So stay tuned as we release that. But there's a lot going on, Jim. I could spend the next 15 minutes running you down all the cool stuff that's in the pipe right now that's going to be dropping. But hopefully, again, everyone follows us online on social media at 4 Wheel Parts Official. Visits us at 4wheelparts.com and checks out the dirt while they're there. And, just stay tuned. We're just getting rolling right now.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to it. Stoked to be a part of the family, and and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from you in the upcoming, weeks and months here on the 4 Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, my friend.
Looking forward to it. Congratulations to you, and thank you to all your listeners for supporting you for all these years, so that way you can continue to do cool stuff and that we can come and be a part of. So looking forward to another fun and exciting year working together.
Big shout out to Joey D for coming on the show. Much appreciated, and their continued support here of all things Down and Dirty. So, episode number 1, Joey D. Hopefully you guys love the interview. I know I had a ton of fun doing it. Next week, I think we're going to be dropping some interviews we record out there at the UTV World Championship. You want some guests on this? Remember, this is all things off-road. If you got guests you want on the show, hit us up. Let me know at JimBeaver15 on social media. And please, while you're at it, go and subscribe to the Down and Dirty Show on iTunes. You'll get both my national show and the off-road edition right there on iTunes. Also, check out downanddirtyshow.com for all the latest and greatest in the world of action motorsports. Also, check out 4 Wheel Parts, The Dirt, your home for all kinds of off-road related content. Great stuff there. Thank you guys for the continued support. Once again, hit me up on social media. Let me know where your thoughts are, what you thought of the show. I love hearing from you. Couldn't do it without all of our amazing partners here on the 4 Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. Polaris RZR, obviously 4 Wheel Parts, Vision Wheel, General Tire, Impact, MotoShield Pro, Gibson, Dirtfish, and don't forget, use the coupon code JBDirtfish. It'll get you 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School. And my friends at My Medic, it is coupon code Jim Beaver. That'll get you 15% off at My Medic and those amazing first aid kits. Got a lot dropping with My Medic coming soon, so definitely want to be on the lookout for that. All right, I'm headed to the UTV World Championship. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week with us, episode number 2 of the 4 Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.